Good morning. This is Diane from the downtown Chattanooga Public Library, and I'm just admiring this lovely galangal plant. I got this when it was much smaller, probably a foot high or so, and it only had maybe 6 or 7 leaves. They were a little bit yellow because it had been getting too much sun, and these are happier in shade or dappled light like it's getting now. So beautiful, aside from a couple of little bits of damage from a storm. All the leaves are intact and lovely. One of those plants that either nothing likes to eat and chew on, not much for diseases, or since it's a Thai plant, the insects and things here just haven't discovered it. There might be something vicious in Thailand that would just eat it down to stubs. I'm not sure. But I'd like to talk a little bit about diseases and pests, and one of the things that you can do to help stop that. Now, with all this COVID, everyone's talking about washing your hands and cleaning and sanitizing, but really that's been what you should do all along in the plant world. This morning I have couple of dozen, I guess, native columbine plants that I'm going to take to the library. I apologize, but by the time you see this video, they'll probably be all gone. But I'm going to start some more seeds. This is a Master Gardener project to get them out into the community. We just like to spread native plants and vegetables and fruits and spread the love and let everyone learn how to garden. Well, these have been sitting in my yard for some bit of time because we haven't been able to do the markets and things like that because of COVID. And some of them are in pots that aren't quite big enough. They're a little bit root bound now, need to be repotted. Some of them have ugly leaves that need to be trimmed off because, you know, what plant are you going to pick? One that looks like this? Or one with some ugly dead leaves in a dirty pot that's going to get nasty stuff in your car? So I'm going to repot the ones that need that, clean them up, and then take them in. So I've got my potting soil with some fertilizer mixed into it. I've got my pot of water. I've got my flat to put them in, although it'll probably take 2. And then what I also have in my greenhouse, because this is sort of, you know, that getting to be the end of the summer, time for fall crops and things, and it's time for more cleanup. And I have a lot of pots in different sizes that are all pretty dirty. Now there's dirt on them, it's true, and you can see that. But what we may not be able to see are pathogens that might cause diseases, something that didn't bother whatever I had planted in here, but when I plant something completely different in it, in a different plant family, it might cause it to have some kind of disease, spores, mildew, who knows what, that might cause it not to thrive. Also, stuck in that dirt, there can be little eeny-weeny insects or insect eggs or something that also, and there's a snail hanging on to the bottom. This has been a wonderful year for snails. I usually just throw them out into the yard and hope the birds will eat them. So I'm going to use these pots to repot because I like to reuse things as much as I can. But before I plant something up for someone else, which I'm not 100% myself, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in this bucket of soapy water and I'm going to wash them. That should take care of a lot of pests and a lot of dirt, just making them look kind of ugly. And I really don't want to give somebody a messy, dirty pot to get junk in their car. And then afterwards, you'll rinse them. And then the final step to get rid of any other kind of bacteria or molds or pathogens or other little things that soap and water didn't take care of, I'm going to put them briefly into a Clorox or chlorine wash. Now, in a 5-gallon bucket of water like this, it's not all the way full. I'm only going to put a couple of teaspoons of bleach in here. In the food industry, it's only about a teaspoon to a gallon or 2 of water. So that's a great thing to kill some germs and things, but more is definitely not better. Then I'm going to let them dry naturally. I'm not going to rinse the chlorine off. I'll just let them dry and the chlorine will dissipate. After I'm finished with their bath, then I'm going to take something, and it doesn't matter what it is, you know, a box, cardboard, plastic, foil, I don't care what it is. I'm going to put that over the top of the chlorine bucket, and in a day or so the chlorine's going to dissipate. It'll just turn into plain old water, just like when you fill something with water before you put in your aquarium or on your staghorn ferns or something, and you let it sit out till the chlorine goes away, because a lot of plants and animals don't really prefer the chlorine. So that's what I'm going to do. Let them dry naturally. I'm also going to clean the tray, not really well. I don't care as much about that. But I also am going to give it a little bath in the chlorine to kill anything that might possibly crawl up onto the planters and sully the efforts of someone to put some beautiful native plants into their yard. So that's something I'm not 100% about, but if I'm going to give you a plant, and I know it's not something like this gall, or there are some other plants, figs over here, they're not bothered by a whole lot of pests, although I did see a grasshopper on it the other day. Told him, you better stay away from my figs. I want to also do a shout out during this video. If you'll go to the library website, click on events, or you go to our Facebook page or Instagram, there are all sorts of tutorials and learning opportunities, storybook time. One of them is called Crafting with Craft Beers. And of course, this too is virtual. We don't want to be going out and gathering any more than we absolutely have to. You can go back and look at the older ones, which is what I did, because I don't often have time to do that. This is my new favorite buddy in the garden. Chrissy and Jackie did one. This is a headband with a beautiful knot in it, made out of old t-shirt yarn. Very easy to do. Who doesn't have an old t-shirt around? You can put it together with hot glue like they did, quick, and I kind of wish that's what I'd done. Or you can do a tiny bit of sewing, but very few materials, just that old t-shirt, needle and thread, or some hot glue, scissors. So simple to do. And I know that a lot of us, because we live in the Southeast, have the same problem I do. I call it Medusa hair. You can put on a hat, you can gather up your hair in a ponytail, but you get out in that steam and heat, and before you know it, you look like one of those rock stars from the 60s with those hairdos that show maybe part of one eye. Your hair's in your face. It goes up your nostrils. It's in your eyes. You can't see what you're doing. You're sweaty, your hands or your gloves are dirty. Before you know it, you've swiped your hair out of your face. Now you've got dirt all over yourself. This headband keeps all that crazy Medusa hair in check. That was fun, simple, yay. Shout out to Jackie and Christy and Crafting with Craft Beers. Not much for the beer part, but the crafting part I love. Have fun, enjoy this beautiful day, and remember to be safe and clean in your garden and with your plants. Get rid of those pests, those pathogens, that bacteria, and gift yourself and your friends with healthy, happy plants with a great chance to start. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for using the library's website. See you next video.